as of now, Brian has cracked off some PBs and got a record, or several records. So this is Brian's car, another 1.8 white wagon. So yeah, we got Brian's car in, we finished at Alex's car, and we ended up making 308 and 339 foot-pounds of torque, and that was on pump gas with the Golf R injectors and a 2-litre high-pressure fuel pump. And that was pretty much it. Everything else was stock in the car, so pretty good numbers for our gas. They're at the wheels, so like everyone else quotes crank. Not really interested in getting a debate about that right now. So now we have Brian's. Brian went a different route. He's basically carbon copied our car, like our 1.8 development car. So it's a Hellcat low pressure pump, stock fuel pump module, which is a big, everyone's like, oh, you can't run those. You can run them. Save yourself $1,000 on a fuel pump controller. And then he's got the 980cc MPI injectors, CTS fuel rail, OEM low pressure fuel pump sensor, downpipe IS38, intercooler, all of the other goodies. So his setup should basically make identical power to our car, which was actually the same as Alex's, roughly about 308 and 325, 330 foot-pounds. That's pretty much like where the cars end up being on pump gas for us. But with Brian's car, we're actually going to do an ethanol file. So I'm going to try and target E40, and that be on a switchable maps, like map 1 low boost pump gas, map 2 would be high boost pump gas, and then map 3 is E40. We may, I'm not 100% sure yet, be able to get the flex fuel working. We're still working on it. We've been working on it for a while. We're getting to a point where we're close. So not 100% sure if we're going to deliver the car back with flex fuel fully activated. Fingers crossed. But if it does, and then Brian can just throw in whatever content he wants, and the car will self-adjust. It adjusts all the lambda correction, it changes the ignition timing, all on the fly. And he'd be able to just literally pump and go. You should be pretty stoked about that, I think. We are driving to the gas station, or for my UK brothers, the petrol station.
Petrol. Yeah.
Gonna go get some petrol. Gonna get some fresh gas. Get some good juice in it. 93. I mean, it's low. I need to do some more street testing on the final pump gas tune for this. Make sure everything's as it should be in real world conditions, and then we'll start adding ethanol. I think we're probably gonna end up around E40. I think we'll see. Don't take that for gospel, but probably target E40 and see where we end up. Did you see the power numbers so far?
No.
344, 351.
That's pretty sweet.
Some pretty good power, huh?
So what are you giving Brian?
We're just working on a E40 tune-up for this. It has 3 maps in this file. So map 1, low boost pump gas. Map 2, high boost pump gas, and then map 3, high boost E40. We are at Mission Raceway. We're here with Brian's car, and Brian's here today. We wrapped up the flex fuel dyno portion on Monday, and then we're waiting for a break in the weather. Took the opportunity to come out, test the car in a closed circuit, safe environment, no risk of the police dinging you for speeding. And we were just been doing data logs, street testing, drivability, doing some draggy runs. We started off on pump gas, did a couple of runs, logged those, draggied them. Everything looked good. Drained the fuel tank, put E50 in it. It's reading like E52 right now, which is basically like the max that the car is going to make. Any more E content, it's the map goes flat. You're looking at probably like 17 degrees of timing at the end of fourth at E50, which is probably as much as you really want to push on a stock engine. So now we're just doing, well, Brian's just down there, just throwing some water in the cooler because intake temps today are not particularly great. So it's just trying to cool the car down after run after run.
Is he trying to hit draggy time today?
Yeah, so like we've done a bunch of like logs now. The logs look great, no issues. The car's driving really nice. But Brian, when he comes back, is gonna try, hopefully, get the IS38 record. I mean, there's faster cars out there, but they're running like bigger turbos. Like he's trying to break the IS38 record. We're close. I think that run that he just did, that didn't get verified by Draggy, was like 1/10 off the record.
He holds the record for fastest pump gas car, right?
On stock fueling, like totally stock, no MPI. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get it in this next run. If not, it'll have to be a different day, when conditions are a little bit more favorable.
So it was 12:07.
12:07.
0 to 60 was fastest, which was like 3.92. And then we were 91.5 miles through the 8th. And a quarter we were 115 again, which is up higher than it's ever been.
We picked up 5 miles an hour from like 93 to E50. Hi, Brian.
Hello, Reese.
Were you happy with the results that we got?
Oh, ecstatic. It's definitely faster than it's ever been. The launch is fantastic. We had it, we want to work a little bit on the 60 foot, but that might be driver error, not TCU or tune. Like I can still hit it when it hits the proper. I don't have boost gauge, so I don't know the optimum ideal point to launch, right? So I'm going off field, not actual data, but we're going to address that.
So some of it will be just relearning how to drive the new power band.
Exactly. It is different. It spikes pretty quick. So that was a little bit getting used to, because I didn't think it would hit that quick. Like normally I would sit there and you could see it climb up, and I knew, the perfect spot to launch it. It does that very quickly now. So, that was a little bit of a shock. Look, I know now for the best launch, as soon as it hits 4, take my foot off. By the time I do that, then it gets to the optimum point. So
we were doing a lot of launches, and it's not something that I'm interested in on the street. It's just not worth it. We have use of the track. We sponsor the track, so we just come out and bring the car, and we can test as much as we want in a closed environment and not worry about the police or killing someone or crashing someone's car. My main goal was to make sure the drivability was good. We found one issue which didn't present itself at the beginning of the day, so we need to make sure if it's software related or if it's actually a mechanical issue. The car has done 10 launches today?
Yeah, 10, 12.
10, 12 launches. It's not really cooled down between any of them, so it could be the DSG fluid's super hot. It's just not holding, it's just slipping, and that's why we're having that weird cut. It could be that the clutches are worn. Bug, go away. Worn a little bit, you probably have 100 launches on the car?
Easily 100, yeah.
So that's a lot of wear in 10,000 kilometers as well, right? So it's a lot of wear. So there could be some wear in the DSG clutches, and we need to compensate with clutch pressure. The Howlett clutches can also wear, or the fluid can overheat as well, so that could be a contributing factor. There's all these little things. We have data, we need to analyze it, and then tomorrow I'll, when I can flash the car again, I'll do some more street testing. I only have to do first and second gear pulls, that I'm fine with doing that on the street. It's not a big deal, not breaking the speed limit. And just see if we can get rid of that stutter. Yeah, it's pretty good. Like I think we can roll this out publicly within the next week or so. Oh man, it's been what, hot minute since the video at the track. When was that? Beginning of April?
Yeah, and we brought it back to the shop because there were some slight tweaks.
There was, yeah, little tweaks. Ended up being big tweaks. We kind of went back to the drawing board a little bit. Like we weren't really, like it performed really well at the track. We had no issues, but we run into a drivability problem in first gear, which was the biggest problem at the track. You know, the car was fine going wide open throttle, which is the easy part really. Everyone gets caught up on numbers, but drivability is a huge thing that we concentrate on here at TuneZilla. So we found a problem, brought it back, and then we spent probably a couple of weeks trying to figure that out, ironed that out. And then we had some different ideas on how to get the transition from going from purely DI to MPI injector, how they transition in, because there were in some cases drivability wise where you would feel the second set of injectors kick in. So there'd be like a kind of like a, not a hesitation, but just like a kind of a little jerk, like a So we were working on that, trying to get the car just OEM basically. So worked on that, transitioned that, changed all of the sort of scaling for the MPI injectors. Did all of that, then we did some more transmission tuning, trying to get sport mode and manual mode a bit more aggressive, which we've accomplished. We ended up at 355 on, this is on E50, or E65 actually, but we'll get into that. So if the map is designed for E50, but we actually had E65 in the tank. So at that kind of ethanol content, we had 355 horsepower and 382 foot-pounds of torque. So quite a lot for a 1.8, as much as we would really want to go on a stock block. Maxed out the turbo. Ideally, if Brian wants to go to the next envelope, he'd be probably looking at a bigger turbo. And then the engine will probably have a pretty short life at that point. And then, yeah, we're looking at a built block. So right now, as of now, Brian has cracked off some PBs and got a record, or several records, I think. So we're pretty happy with the car. Just a few little things we're going to work out. More Easter eggs than anything to do with the flex fuel. We're actually trying to get pops and bangs working for the 1.8s because everyone loves those. So you get to a certain point, and this is kind of typical for most Volkswagens and Audis or any bag group of this MQB platform, is they get to around like E50 and then the results are diminishing. Like you basically tap out the engine. Like you can't run any more ignition. We can't run any more boost on this turbo because then it's just a hot hairdryer. So E50 is where the map goes flat in terms of ignition and boost increase. And then any content after that will actually decrease EGTs. So that's beneficial, but you're not going to gain any more power at that. So, and then, but with flex fuel, with this, it's set up, you could run any E-content. E100 if you wanted to. It's just not going to make any more power. But whoa, the beauty is, and Brian's been doing, is that we have one station locally that has E85. It's actually E60, but whatever. He can just go to the pump in. He could have run 91 in the tank before, and it, you know, the content could be E38 or E46. The car is self-adjust. Like it doesn't matter. It do all of the heavy lifting and figuring out how much boost and ignition timing to run. So I'm not going to go into the details of how we've done that because that's secret, but the car does all the work.
It's a true flex
A true flex, like he literally just like pumps and goes. There's no mixing, there's no jerry cans involved. It's like, just go to the gas station. We may do some other little bits for the 1.8. We have our other 1.8 on the hoist there. It's getting transmission. We really want to test the GLI cam. People have spoke about it in the forums, but they've never done any kind of real testing, like back to back, like same setup, throw a cam in it, and then what does it do? So we're gonna do that. Yeah, we're gonna do it in our car. Brian's gonna carry on drag racing for the rest of the summer. That needs a new transmission because we blew it up. So yeah, we'll probably do that, but that won't be a big development work. It'll be a cam in. We know what it does on a dyno now, so it'll be a cam in, throw it on a dyno, and be like, okay, so we've seen this increase, or we've seen no increase, and then we can just release that information to the, to the people, and they can decide if they want to spend however much money to do that upgrade. Unless there's a big demand for it, we may do a Garrett 2260. If there's enough, like we've had a couple of people interested in the tickets, so we'll see. We want to do other stuff.
Should we do that turbo upgrade?
We should peer pressure Brian to do it.
Yeah, just get
But I mean, our car, it'd be fine. It's just front wheel drive. It's just gonna be wheel spin central. A 2260 is probably the biggest turbo I'd go on one of these. They're not as strong as the 2 litres, as well known. Can't say for certain, this is just my theory, is that we'll never actually get the potential out of a 2260 on one of these because we're gonna be locked in by what the engine can handle. We know the 2 litres 450 is kind of like the limit. Sorry, 450 foot-pounds is the limit for the rods. And then anything after that is, pot luck if your engine blows up or not. With these, 380 is already a lot. I don't really want to be pushing too much more than that. The beauty with a bigger turbo would be we push the power band up, so it wouldn't be so much peak torque down low. So it's just something we need to try if there's enough demand. So, oh, and if you're curious as to what hardware is in Brian's car, I'll tell you. IS38, the CTS MPI kit, so that's 980cc injectors. Flex fuel sensor, standard Continental, inventory intake. Has a CTS catted downpipe, Hellcat, low pressure fuel pump. No fuel pump control module, like upgrade needed for that. We can run it on the OEM one. Pretty sure that's it. It's nothing crazy. It's super simple. Oh, he has an intercooler, but like, I would imagine anyone would have an intercooler at this point if they've gone stage 2. Oh, and it has our Haldex spring installed as well. This time, Brian's back. He's done an upgrade, getting ready for the coming season, the drag racing. I think last time the car was here, the engine bay kind of looks similar. He did change up the exhaust. He did have a CTS downpipe that was catted and a stock, like a midsection and rear mufflers, and he upgraded to a Miltech catted downpipe. I think it's 4-inch. I can't remember, he did tell me, but kind of just... I think it's 3 inch. 3 inch. Whatever it is, it looks pretty big. Does the job. Is catted. And then he has a Miltech exhaust, like full exhaust. So, but the big change is he upgraded to the Garrett Paramax 1 2260S, which we have done before on our car, but that had the cam. So when Brian said he wanted to go with this, because he saw the results that we got and he was chomping at the bit, we wanted to bring the car in, just put the InstaTune file on that is available for everyone and see what the car made. And I know Brian's looking for some new personal bests. So what we have done is upgraded the map sensor and the put sensor, which is the pressure upstream sensor. So this is a 3.5 bar, and the one in the boost pipe is 4 bar. So what that has allowed us to do is actually increase the boost more than what you would be able to if you didn't have those upgrades. So like the off-the-shelf tune that we have basically is right on the limit of what the map sensors are read. So like 1.8 bar, sorry, 1.8, 1.9 bar, really flirting with the limit of the stock map sensor. So upgraded those, we're running a little bit more boost, so we can make a little bit more power. And hopefully this season he'll be dominating. I want to show you some dyno numbers. We've got up an E65 graph, and we're going to have like an E30 graph. And I'll tell you the pump gas numbers because I can't show all the comparisons, but let's go over. All right, so what's the green graphs? This lower one, this is horsepower, this one's torque. On E30, it made like 400, 393, let's say 400, we like to round up. And then like 375 foot-pounds. And then on E65, it made 431 and 400 foot-pounds of torque. So really impressive, great power band. On pump gas, it made around 370. That's on 93 octane. And around like 350 torques. So really impressive. And I just want to bring up another graph quick because I just remembered it might be a good comparison for some people. Is the IS38. Let's have a look. The red line is the IS38, and where's my cursor gone? All right, so we picked up 76 horsepower over the IS38 on the same ethanol content, so like E60, E65, and we've kind of kept torque a little bit tame. Obviously, don't want to send the bottom end across the floor. So about 16 horsepower peak difference, but you'll notice all of the gain out back. So gave up a little bit of spool, but not a huge amount. Again, this car doesn't have the GLI cam, so that's a good test for us to have a bit more of an apples to apples comparison, because obviously when we did our turbo, it had the cam in it. And for the people that are a little bit more tech focused, just want to talk about the torque graphs and why the green graph, which is the 2260, looks the way it is. Like, it's super soft here. Basically, the turbo can produce a lot of air boost, and the engine literally cannot ingest that amount of air at that RPM. So it was surging between 3,500 and 4,000. So we couldn't make it stand up and carry across. So basically, we had to kind of dial in the boost so it's a little bit tamer between 3 and 3,500 RPM. So that's why that graph kind of looks like that. And then obviously the turbo can push a little bit more and doesn't roll over as fast. So we managed to get it to go to 7,200, whereas the IS38 would be done around 6,800, 6,900 RPM. So he gained a little bit of RPM as well, which will help for drag times. Yeah, I think Brian will be stoked, and hopefully it goes super fast this season.